Hey there, welcome back. I know it's been a while since I posted my last video, but I promise I will try to post more frequently from now on. In fact, I have been busy working on some really big projects, so some cool content will be up on the channel in near future, but today I am back with the makeover of this desk chair. So what makes this makeover different from other similar makeovers is that this seat got a really special treatment. So keep watching to find out more about this later in the video. So let's start. This was a $5 find from a thrift store, nothing fancy to write home about. But solid chair with clean lines which was quite comfortable to sit on, just the way a chair should be. After removing the seat which was attached to the frame with wood screws, I stripped the old finish with chemical stripper. After stripping the old finish, I sanded the chair frame with 220 grit sandpaper and wiped it clean thoroughly. Now the frame was ready for the new finish. I used water-based stain in a brownish color which I had laying around in my shop, and then I glazed this whole frame with diluted white latex paint. The glazing process is pretty simple. You just brush the diluted paint on and wipe it off immediately. A couple of hours after the glaze was dry, I gave the frame 2 coats of water-based varnish, also known as polyacrylic, in satin finish with a hand sponge. You can totally use a soft bristle brush at this point. I just prefer using hand sponge, just a personal preference. But if you want to use a bristle brush, make sure it's a good quality brush which does not shed bristles, because it's so frustrating to find dried up bristles in your nicely freshly done finish. And also, even some good quality brushes, sometimes they shed 1 or 2 bristles here or there, so just keep an eye for those loose bristles. While the frame was drying and curing, I brought my attention to the seat. Although it was an upholstered seat to begin with, but I wanted to go a step further and make it even more comfortable. So let me show you how I transformed this hard seat into a soft and cushiony which is extra comfortable. First of all, I removed the old fabric and foam from the base of the seat. Then I removed the middle of the seat panel with my jigsaw, and I was left with this frame for seat upholstery. So let me divide the seat upholstery into 8 simple steps for you. Weave the seat frame with webbing. I had this polypropylene webbing on hand, so I used that, but you can totally use a cotton or jute webbing. Start by stapling one end of webbing to the frame and then staple the other end by pulling it tight. When you are stapling this other end, just try to pull as hard as you can with your one hand, and then staple with the other. Finish one direction with 3 to 4 rows of webbing, leaving less than an inch between each row. Use the over, under, over method in the other direction to finish the weaving. Over, under, over. Although I did not use on this seat because I had misplaced it, but this webbing stretcher tool makes the job of pulling webbing a whole lot easier. A good investment if you are thinking of taking up more of similar upholstery projects. A well done webbing on a seat should make this drum-like sound. Cover the webbing with a piece of fabric by stapling it to the frame. In the center of the seat and on top of the webbing goes 1/4 to 1/2 inch thick foam. I used this Easy Tack spray adhesive to fix the foam to the seat. Although 2-inch thick foam would have been good enough, but I joined 2-inch thick and 1-inch thick foam pieces to get 3-inch thick foam for the seat, which I had cut about ½ inch bigger than the wooden seat panel. Then I joined the seat base to the foam right in the center. Measure the seat for batting and the fabric. Batting helps minimize the friction between the fabric and the foam and also softens the edges and fills in the corners. Cut the webbing to just the measured size, but cut the fabric about 4 inches or more longer on all 4 sides. Doing that makes it easy to pull the fabric while stapling it to the frame. The fabric I was using was short by a few inches, so I sewed to it some scrap piece of fabric to compensate for that. This would be hidden under the seat or maybe even cut away in the end. First, join the batting to the foam with spray adhesive and then put this on the upside down fabric laid on a flat surface. First of all, staple the fabric on 3 sides with 1 staple in the middle by pulling just enough so that the fabric is smooth on the front side. And then staple the whole 4th side starting from middle towards the corners by pulling the fabric gently. Now remove the staple on the opposite side and staple the whole side just the way it was done on the first side, from middle towards the corners, but this time pull the fabric tight. Finish all 4 sides in the same manner. Stop stapling a couple of inches away from the corners. That makes it easier to do the corners later on. You will see what I mean in a minute. I do not know how to explain the corners, but I hope this next section of this video makes it easy to understand how to tackle the corners. But if you still have any doubts or questions about the corners or about any other part of this project, let me know in the comments and I will try to address your questions to the best of my ability. In the end, cut away all the excess fabric. The seat was pretty much done at this point and the next step was not necessary. You can totally skip this step and move on to the next one, but if you still are interested, keep watching. I sewed a bias tape and stapled that to the seat edges, making sure I was as close to the edges as possible. Relief cuts make the bias tape go easy around the corners and give the corners a clean look. And in the end, before putting the seat back on the frame, I attached the dust cover. And the seat was all set to go where it belonged, on this chair frame. I used these L brackets to attach the seat to the chair frame. Always pre-drill the screw holes to prevent wood from splitting on you. And the chair makeover was all done. So I would love to hear your thoughts about this makeover, and trust me, converting this seat from a hard to a soft one has made a tremendous difference in the comfort level of this chair. So that concludes today's video. I hope it was well worth your time. Until I see you next with another DIY project, take care, and also please do subscribe. Thank you.